This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this is Bill O'Brien, 9th District Councilman, Chairman of the Parks and Rec Committee, and we'll call the April 1st, 2021 meeting to order at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of March 4th, 2021?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. Aaron, you're with us, right?
I am.
If it's okay with everybody, can we first go to the report of the recreation? Is that okay with you, Chad? For the recreation superintendent report, because there's an issue, not an issue, but something about biking we want to talk about, and Aaron has another meeting to go to.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay, so Andre, you want to start it off?
Yeah, so can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we received an email just stating that, there's a resident of Stratford for almost 3 years. She has a son that would like to be part of riding bikes throughout Stratford. And there's not really a bike park around Stratford where her child could safely ride her bike and ride his bike and do tricks. And I spoke with Amy about this, and I personally, when I drive around Stratford, especially in the Longbrook area, you just see, 30 teens on their bikes just in the middle of the roads, blocking roads all throughout Stratford. I think a bike park would be something that would be great for this town. I know that this is something that's been brought up before in the past. I want to know how everyone else feels about that.
Well, I think with that, let's have Aaron jump in and tell us what's happening with PAL and the plans that they have concerning biking.
So,
Bill, just
Okay.
really quickly.
Yeah.
Bill, just really quickly, point of order. Can Andre and Aaron just identify themselves for the public and for the record?
Oh, good idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my name is Andre Brown. I'm the Stratford Recreation Supervisor. I'm just taking Amy's spot for tonight. This is my second meeting, so I'm glad to meet all of you again. So I'm excited.
and I'm Erin McLaughlin, and I run the PAL program for the police department. So we too have been getting emails about kids on bicycles.
Right.
Probably not as nice as the ones that Andre's getting, but we're getting them too. And and cops don't want to spend their days breaking them off on kids on bicycles. You know what I mean? They really don't. I think a bike park's a great idea, but in the interim, the police department is going to host a series of bike rides where we'll start at different schools. They'll learn first and foremost some rules of bike riding, and we'll be able to do some bike maintenance on some kids' bikes who need some help, and we'll be able to give some bikes to some kids who don't have one. And then the cops will, on bike and with a cruiser, do some not guided, but some chaperoned runs throughout town from each of the different schools. We're planning it out and spacing it out now. So kids who live in the neighborhood can come there and do their bikes. We'll literally shut the streets down as we go. They can do all the tricks they want. They can get everything out of their system, but they'll also, give the police an opportunity to do some engagement with them. We can make sure their bikes are safe. We can make sure that they all own helmets. I know that at 13 years old, I didn't really care what the rules of the road may have been, but at least it's an opportunity to potentially learn something they clearly are not at least following at the moment. So it may be a temporary fix for a problem, but it's better than not trying to do anything at all. So that's where we're at with it.
That sounds good. I think too, Ken, didn't we pass an ordinance last year or the year before when there was such a problem with the kids riding bikes on the street, especially on the main streets? And I think that helps solve that problem a little bit.
Yes, we did.
Anybody have any other thoughts on the subject, especially the idea of a bike park?
No, it definitely is. It definitely is an issue in town, especially I know in Paradise Green area there, in front of Etzima's there can get pretty congested with bikers, bicyclists actually. So the thought of a bike park is not a bad idea someplace, but couldn't they temporarily, like block off a school parking lot like Benell or whatever, and let them do all the tricks they want to do or whatever, and
I
not
think
have
that
traffic?
the option for them to do that in the parking lots is there, but it's not as exciting as driving down Main Street doing that. So I think that they can go to any parking lot in town without getting shooed away. I just think they choose to be out in the street. So
Didn't we have so? Sorry, I was just going to ask you about. Didn't we have something at Short Beach for a
yeah,
time
they
period?
took that down a long time ago.
Yeah,
We
was there a
did, though.
reason why they took it down? Was there?
Condition, I think.
I think it was dangerous. It wasn't like it was far from state of the art.
Yeah,
Hey, that's my, this is Prez Palmer. So my question is, do we have an example of a bike park that would actually, because I want to picture how much space and how can we accommodate all of what a bike park may need to keep kids safe as well as stimulated. Do we have an example?
I don't know, but Gary, you're with us, right?
Yep.
I know you've talked about this for several years, something that's done in other cities. Is what PAL is planning sound similar?
I'm sorry, I came in late. I couldn't get my customer off the phone. So I came in on the tail end. So, I'm sorry. So Pal's going to do a ride out? Is that it?
It sounds similar. Want to quickly just give us an overview of an override, what you're talking about?
Well, the couple of the big cities, the police have some of the police officers have actually gotten on bikes and have gone riding with the kids and done ride outs. The police officers have done the tricks too, and they close off the street so it's safe for the kids and there's no cars and all that. And I think for the police, for the good thing on that is obviously they pick up the rapport with the kids, but they also figure out who the leaders are, so they know who to go talk to the issues.
Yeah, this sounds like it's almost like exactly what Aaron was explaining PAL plans to do.
I mean, I think they've done it in Bridgeport in the years past. I'm not sure if they still do it in Bridgeport or not. But I'll be honest with you, I don't see it as much as I used to in Stratford, but I know it still goes on. But I think anything with that is if we get the police involved, and it's a benefit for the kids. They get a good experience with the police instead of it being negative stuff. And I think that when you get a cop out there, a police officer going out there and doing the tricks with the kids, the guy's an automatic rock star, or she is, whoever, male or female, they're an automatic rock star as far as the kids are concerned.
Yeah, we have a couple of cops that are all on board with that. They're practicing their tricks and everything.
They want help. I can get my 15-year-old would have no problem going down and helping them. And some of them know.
Oh,
Some
that'd
of
be
them
great.
know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
so we're having a meeting on Thursday, next week from tonight, to put together the schedule where the meetups are, where the rides will be, that kind of thing. So I can make sure I can get it to Bill by the end of next week, and then we'd love to have whatever. And we're not excluding families. We're just saying it's for kids. But if families want to take rides with us, we would be more than happy to help to have them.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, I think this is a great idea. I really do, because it's something that I know they did in Philadelphia. I know they've done it in New York, and it's been a huge benefit. So, and I think
it's a win-win, really. So.
Yeah, no, it is, and everybody goes out and has fun. I mean, so
the cops are really excited about it. They wanted to originally. We had gotten a grant a couple of years ago for mountain bikes. And we had a couple of cops that would take kids on, these mountain bike rides. But
Right.
honestly, the kids in town weren't particularly interested in that. They want to do what they're doing on their trick bikes and all that stuff. So they went, but they went and they didn't love it. So we had to kind of amend it. That said, we also have a lot of kids in our PAL program that don't have a bike. So this is a way to start identifying those kids. I mean, bikes are freedom for some of these kids, you know. So it'll be a way for us as the PAL program to identify needs within each neighborhood. So it'll be helpful to us on a number of levels.
No, I think it
Yeah,
makes
Aaron,
sense.
I think this is a great first step, and I think the talk of a Pike Park should be put off until we get a better feel from the kids. Survey the kids, see how they feel about it. They might not even want a bike park. Reminds me years ago, a survey was done.
Well, they definitely would, because we did talk to them we talked to them when we went through the mountain biking portion of it. You know what I mean? Because we didn't understand why they wouldn't be all over that. But then when we spoke to them, they're like, well, that's not what we want to do. So I mean, listen, I don't want to spend your money, Bill O'Brien, but you know, I think a bike park would be what they would be interested in. And I think that they would enjoy this thing with the cops too. But I think that may be a temporary fix, you know? So we're going to keep doing it. So it doesn't matter whether there's a bike park or not, but it can't be every day like a bike park would be.
Right.
Hey, Bill, Paul Hoydick.
Yeah. Hey, Paul.
I like the idea of the ride along. I mean, when we had that park at Short Beach, it was small, it was cramped, you know, it was hard for the kids to go. So, you know, it finally deteriorated, but we didn't have a big turnout there anyways, you know? And I agree with Prez that it's, you know, you would need a big piece of land for a bike park, which I don't think we have in town, but.
Right, because I think if you're going to do a bike park, it's got to be somewhere more towards the center of town instead of, you know, the north end or the south end where you're going to limit the number of kids that can get to it.
Right, so you would have to be doing maybe a different parking lot every week or something instead of just a general bike park, because I don't think we have any property enough to do that in town.
And Short Beach, I think, was more of a skateboard park than a bike park.
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
Yes.
Hey, Bill, to add on to that there, what Paul was just saying there, I believe we would need to make it comprehensive. So could we look into a combination bike park and skate park? Because it looks like, you know, the two sort of coincide, and why not just maximize the opportunity?
There's one drawback to that, Perez. It's a good idea on paper until the skateboarders try to take over or the bikers over, and then whose turn is it? And then you never know what's going to happen with kids these days.
Is there as much interest in skateboarding these days as there was? It's just, I don't seem to see the skateboarders the way it was several years ago.
I think kids still do it, but not as many.
Bill, I don't know. My skateboarding days are behind me. Maybe Ken will get out there the skateboard more faster than me.
Yeah, I don't think
the only one I know that still skateboards is Paul Hoydick.
Again, we don't see as many skateboarders the same thing because there's really nowhere.
All right. Well, I think it's a good start here. We'll talk more about it, and Aaron, keep us up to date. And thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you switching the schedule around. The police are the featured chatters on the Courageous Conversation series tonight. So, so we just got to do a little prep for it. But I will absolutely get the information about the ride-alongs by the end of next week. And, you know, the more the merrier. So,
and I think the happiest person I think the happiest person to hear all this is Gary, because he's talked about this for several years.
Yes, and also, Aaron, I make sure you call it ride outs, not ride along. What you're using, use the word ride out. That's the term they use.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right. Well,
and
if you want, as I said,
if you want some input from my kid, he can, again, Some of your officers I do know my son.
Okay. What's his
Oh.
name?
Colin Bauer.
Oh, okay.
He
So
goes to
what we would, he goes to Bunnell?
Yeah.
So when I get the thing, if any of those dates are things that he could make, we would love to have him. So we're also gonna do a couple of bike maintenance things, which is just another way for us to be able to identify kids that don't have bikes. If we're like down at the substation at Gregory Circle, you know, the kids will come out just to check stuff out, and this way we'll be able to find out if, you know, if there's what the needs are. So, but listen, I really appreciate everybody's input, and I will get all of this information back to Bill, and hopefully I'll see you guys at a bike ride where I'll be standing and waving as you guys leave.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Aaron.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too. Andre, you have some more for us?
Yeah, I'll give you just a little overview of what we've been up to this past couple of weeks. Just want to let everyone know that we started promoting our programs for the summer, our programs for the spring as well. We've just started our spring programs 2 weeks ago. It's all outdoor programming, so it's basketball, soccer, football, track and field, and we're primarily at Short Beach and Longbrook. Our registration for our summer camps, we start April 5th. Other than that, we're really just preparing for the summer in terms of lifeguards and our beach sticker stuff, our research programs that our waterfront director is doing. We just started that in March. Our beach sticker stuff, we're still kind of planning that out because it's a new sticker year, and that's always a hectic year for us, as Aileen knows. We're going to be charging non-residents. We didn't do that last year. We're going to be doing that this year. Our staff is going to be, we're going to have hiring new staff. We're doing interviews right now, mostly me. We've been doing that, as well as, you know, setting up the system for that to make sure it's nice and smooth for whenever we do open. We're planning on starting Memorial Day weekend. Other than that, really what we're really just planning on doing is just really preparing for the summer, really getting ready for the sticker year. Jobs have been posted. We just finished our interviews this past week. In terms of permits and use of property, we do have the Shakespeare Farmers Market. That's every 1st and 3rd, Saturday and Sunday through April. We have our Rotary Paper Shred event at Baldwin Center, April 17th. The trail race at Roosevelt Forest, April 17th. Other than that, that's about it. Some of the stuff that we've been doing throughout COVID, it's still going to stay the same. Use of town buildings, no one will be able to use it. Bird's Eye is only open for COVID vaccinations only.
Thanks, Andre. Anybody have any questions? I do want to mention that the ordinance regarding beach sticker attendance that's on the agenda.
Yes.
Ken, I think last time we talked about this at council was tabled, but the update I have now is Council Chair Chris Pia is talking with the administration about this, and we'll have to hold off till the next meeting to discuss it further.
Right.
And if there's nothing else, thanks, Andre, and we'll jump over to Chad.
Good evening, Chad Esposito, Park Superintendent for the town of Stratford. We went from 30 inches of snow to 60-degree weather and spring sports. And after COVID, everybody is really into spring sports because nobody's been doing sports that good. So some spring work that we've been doing, as a Parks Division on the whole, cleaning up properties, sticks, branches from windstorms, from winter, from everything. Esplanade, schools, parks, everywhere. We've been going into playgrounds. The evening shift has been going into school playgrounds, park playgrounds, adding FIBAR. We're going through about 90 yards of FIBAR about every 3 weeks or so. It's an average of about 20 to 25 yards per playground, somewhere in there. Some are more, some are a little bit less, but we're doing that now, trying to get everything prepared for summer and the park season, and then schools for back to school or school use now if they need it. High school sports start at the end of the month. So we rebuilt Wigwam Field, renovated. I shouldn't say really rebuilt, renovated Wigwam Field, cut out the lines, cut out the lips, reestablished all the parameters. We did Bunnell softball field, which was in dire need because of all the work that we did on the other side. The softball really needed some work. All those fields have been leveled back. They're performing much, much better. They did well with the rain this week, definitely leveled off, less bird baths, less water accumulation. So this week, because we had an unfavorable week for like painting, we're going to get into all of our painting, the soccer fields, the lacrosse fields, baseball foul lines, all of that stuff for the upcoming sports. So we'll start on Monday, start lining out the fields. We've been working with Sterling House and obviously both high school athletic directors on what their needs are and what has to be painted. We started cleaning up the beach. So over the last 3 days, we got most of the storm debris, phragmites, and wood from the beach area. I know there's been a lot of concern from the neighbors on Riverdale saying that we don't clean far enough down the beach past Wayne's Walk entrance, but we were looking on the GIS today, and basically that's either Autobahn property or private property. So we can't turn our machines down there. So we go down about just beyond Wayne's Walk, and then we clean from there up. So there was a couple of emails that we addressed today about going further down, and it's not really our property. It's a bird sanctuary, so we really can't go into it. And that's where we stand with that. The golf course opened on March 25th. We had an incredible weekend, the 27th, 28th, when it was very warm. This week with the cool weather and the rain, kind of tapered off a little bit, but it's open. And we're just about ready to open up online booking. We're going to send out a marketing blast through the 1,000 people that we have in the computer now. Since Peter Pulaski has taken over, we went from 175 in our database to 1,000 in less than, I would say, 5 months. So really, there's a huge base that gets a lot of information on what the course is going to do. And with the online booking, we're not going to do any money, because if you pay for it, then we get weather. Then are you going to give refunds? Are you going to give rain checks? So we're just doing online registration so that somebody could book it online, still has to come into the thing to produce either a resident or non-resident, and then go out and play, get checked in. So that's really what we're doing. We've been doing a lot of odds and ends. We just finished tennis courts up at Flood. This evening, there was some damage to one of the upright, the nets. Stratford High called up all concerned that we were taking down the nets, that we weren't going to let them use the courts. It was just a broken pipe, so we in turn fixed it. That's it. We're just busy. It's springtime.
Chad, what's the latest thinking on a golf, I guess, what would you call it, like a starter shack down at the course?
So we looked at trying to go to the first tee area, but feasibly the power would be tens and tens of thousands of dollars to try and get out there. So there's the area just right of kind of on the fence line where the gate goes into Bobby's area. There's a grass area that's where we're going to look to put the new point of sale building. We could pull the power off of the building itself, the existing building, and then just run, an air conditioner and a area heater in the fall, and then have a small, maybe 20 by 12 or 20 by 14, just freestanding building where we could go in, we could sell through a window, we could do whatever COVID dictates, but it gives us a nice little space to, help out. Because where we are right now is completely temporary. It's so far removed from anything. You can't see the first tee. You can't see if anybody is coming onto the course. You can't see if nobody's paid and walked onto the course. So this year we're going to be diligent with having more rangers out there to try and, have the communication between the front desk and the first tee area. But when if the building gets approved and in, that'll face basically the putting green in the first tee. So then we'll go back to, having the visibility that we're used to, actually probably better visibility than was even in the building.
That sounds good. And I wanted to mention too, thanks for getting the gate at Worcester locked. I went by and I noticed that was closed up. And are there still plans to line the Bunnell tennis courts for pickleball?
Yes. Yes, we have to do that. I'm going to go out to bid for it soon so that we could get it done in the summer. Has to be over 65 degrees, I think, at night to make sure that it dries and cures. So we'll wait until after the tennis season, give it a couple weeks, close it down, and then remove the tennis courts, have it painted, and then that's all. Again,
Okay.
there's no chipping, but there's no real chipping on the court surface. It's just the exterior, basically entrances and stuff. So we're going to do that this year. Yes.
Okay, thanks. And then Ken, have you heard any complaints or concerns about the playground at Worcester?
Occasionally I get calls or emails about the age of the equipment there. I tell them that we're trying to do the best we can. Stuff has been replaced periodically, and I know, systematically we're trying to replace them throughout the town. But Worcester stuff is getting old. Yeah, is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, because I saw somebody complain about the condition of it. And if that one's on the list, Chad, for down the road?
They're all on the list. I mean, there was some things brought to my attention from the Stratford ladies or something about the seesaw that was broken. The seesaw was well over 16 years old. I couldn't get parts for it, nothing. So we removed the hazard and we'll put, a spring rocker or something like that in there. But we haven't decided what we're going to do yet. The playground itself is from 2008. So these newer style playgrounds have a shelf life or a year life of between 15 and 17 years is when you should look to replace them. So, of the 21 playgrounds we have, there are about 10 that are all installed in 2008. So in 2008, there was a massive amount of money spent. If each playground is 60 grand, that was 600,000 spent back then. So, we're trying to go through and get the oldest playgrounds first, i.e. Nichols, i.e. Chapel. There are some playgrounds that are older that need more priority, replacements, but yeah, it's all CIP money and it's all how much we want to do at one time or over years or whatever the case is.
Yeah, Chad, if you could, there used to be two little seesaws there, and then one broke a couple of years ago, and now the other one. So now, if you can get anything in there, a little rocker or something, that would be great, for the little kids, the tiny kids to use.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at now. Between game time, I talked with my rep, looked at a couple spring rockers. Like Chapel has a couple like dinosaur type things, which they're easy. They're easy to put in. They could be, cohabitated use zones because you don't need a full 7 feet around them or 6 feet. So that's what we were looking at doing, so I wanted to pick something out in that area with a color, with a potential playground replacement color so that we could use it and not give, what's there. The swing sets are old. One of the styles is a new style. The other style is way too tall for modern swing sets. When you're 2 to 5 or 5 to 12, the bar should not really be over 8 or 10 feet. And I think it's either 12 or 14. So the critical fall height becomes 2 times the height of the swing. So that's why they've kind of closed everything down and made like a standard either 8 foot or 10 foot, depending on the child's age, so that the critical fall height comes down, less chance for, traumatic injury. So that's all. I've been doing this with all of the playgrounds through all of the parks, and it's really up to, figuring out, prioritizing which ones are which I have a whole spreadsheet on, which ones are the oldest, which ones need the most work, and so on and so forth. And every playground that we present in schools should absolutely have pour-in-place rubber, should not be 5-bar, just because of the ease of use and the overall less maintenance aspect compared to 5-bar, because 5-bar is very expensive. It's cheap in the beginning, becomes very expensive in the end. So pour-in-place, lasts in that same thing, that 15 to 17 year, and then you have to start to change it. So, but that's what we're proposing for all of the schools. And then The outer playgrounds, you don't really need it as much. Park playgrounds, you don't really need the pour in place. You could get away with 5R. So if people want to see a list, and if you want me to present to the Park and Rec committee so that we could see like what years all of these installations were and how they should start to be put on a list, I have no problem sharing that information.
Bill, I think that would be a good idea, don't you?
Yeah, I'd like to see that if you don't mind. If you want to just send it out to Aileen, she could send it to us.
Absolutely. We've got some new playgrounds that we put over in the years, but then we've got a bunch that are in that 2008, 2009, 2011 range that really in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to have some substantial, turnover and changing of these playgrounds.
Well, I think it's great we're paying attention to all this stuff. It reminds you of what's happened over the years with the school roofs, with maintenance of town buildings. A lot of it was just let go, but in the last 3.5 years, there seems to be a much better plan, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, if anybody has any other questions.
All right, thanks, Chad.
Bill.
Somebody, was that Ken? Ken?
Yeah. Bill, I was waiting for your monthly question to Chad about the no dog signs at Bunnell that we're still waiting for.
Oh, I thought that was done.
I thought it was done too. We'll talk to the sign guy and see if he could get it done.
Chad, they did put the no bike signs up, so thank you for that. But we need the dogs, because you would not believe the amount of people that we see walking their dogs on the track, on the turf at the stadium field, and on the new turf at the baseball field. It's like just unbelievable.
Got it. I thought they were going to be in combination, the bicycles and the dogs, but I'll remind the highway division to get the no dog signs out too. Sure.
Yeah, and we need them at each entrance, the 2 at the top of each hill and the back.
Yep, you got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was brought up at Roosevelt Forest Commission's meeting that dogs roaming in the forest has been unleashed. People are just letting their dogs roam, and it causes problems. I don't know if we need a couple signs up there, but that's another issue. Okay, why don't we go on to any new business? I was thinking, Catherine, do you want to mention anything new happening with Sterling House programs?
I'm gonna thank, this is Catherine from Sterling House. I'm gonna thank Chad so much for his help with the fields, because we are one of the culprits in taking a lot of fields right now for soccer. We have over 520 something kids for spring soccer in all our regions. So yeah, like he said, all the kids are coming out, all the parents are coming out and participating. So thanks to Chad and his crew for helping get us started, at least for soccer. We're planning summer camp as well, and that'll be on property, and we're sold out for that. And then we're going to run some sports camps that do not conflict with Stratford Rec, specialty camps for lacrosse, a multi-sport camp, and our Kickstart soccer in the summer too. So we're rocking and rolling this spring and summer.
And it's noteworthy that Sterling House takes over the management of Aaron's Gym on, is it April 13th?
Yep, April 13th.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, anybody have anything else or any old business? And if not, our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 6, 2021. And if we want to consider going outside that night, let's play it by ear and see how the weather is. Or if Aileen likes this setup, we'll just stay inside. But we can talk about it. That's all that really
matters. If Aileen's happy, everybody else is happy, right?
That's right.
So, anyway.
If it has to be off site, it at least has to be near my house. So I'd consider maybe Booth Park. None of this like going down to Short Beach or anything.
Well, we could consider poolside.
All right, so motion to adjourn, Ellie.
Motion to adjourn.
Aileen's dining room would be fine too.
Rick made the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Have a happy Easter, everybody.
Happy
Same
Easter.
to you. Take care,
Don't
everybody.
forget,
Stay safe. Be well.
tomorrow's